right, look. This is every soup from The Boys explained in 22 minutes. In honor of The Boys season finale, I actually need to still watch. I wanted to watch this, so let's see what every soup is. I ain't gonna lie, they be having some weird soups on this month. Let's check it out.
Reginald Franklin, better known by his superhero name A-Train, was born in the year 1987. Shortly after his birth, his parents accepted Vaught's offer to inject him with Compound V, and during his childhood, it is implied that he grew up poor, and when he was still very young, his father passed away, resulting in his mother having to work 2 jobs. Because of this, his older brother Nathan practically raised him. Over time, his brother eventually became Reginald's personal trainer as his powers began to develop. His superhuman speed activated at around the age of 3, where he outran the bullets of a deadly shooter towards his home. As he got older, he gained more recognition for his speed, becoming a celebrity for Vought International, now taking on the name A-Train. He aspired to become a superhero to support his family and also do good for society. At some point, he became a member of Teenage Kicks, a group of teenage superheroes owned and managed by Vought. This group was pretty prominent during the late 1990s and early 2000s.
Oh, I forgot he was fucking with her. What was her power? Her power was crazy, wasn't it? Oh my god, I forgot about that whole season. Now her power was crazy. I can't think of it though. Yeah, she had like claws in her arms.
And here he met Charlotte, better known as Popclaw, and her and A-Train got into a relationship. After some time of being together, he ended up leaving her and joining Godolphin University, a school founded by Vought dedicated to teaching young soups how to be heroes. Here he became the top-ranked student, and by the time he graduated in 2015, he was drafted into the Seven, the most legendary and prestigious superhero group owned and managed by Vought. During this time on the team, he seemed to genuinely want to help people at first, but over time, his desire for fame continued to grow stronger, resulting in him becoming a very person. He would abuse Compound V to maintain his status as the fastest man alive, as he is very insecure about staying at the top and anyone overtaking him. But because of him abusing this, it ends up coming at the cost of his own health, which will eventually shorten his life. Although A-Train starts off as a major antagonist in season 1 of the show, as the seasons go on, he becomes less and less of one, and in season 4, he now even helps the protagonist multiple times and shows deep down he still wants to do the right thing. Irving, better known as Black Noir, was born sometime around the 1950s to early 1960s. And as a child, he imagined Buster Beaver, a fictional animal character who is the mascot of Buster Beaver's Pizzeria, and he believed Buster to be his friend who would—
Why does the new— wait, so I hope he's gonna explain both, because why the fuck does— did all y'all watch it? Did y'all at least watch not this today's episode, the episode before that? Did y'all watch that episode? Not even once. Yes. I ain't seen it. Just spoil. Okay, why? This is from last week's episode, not this week's, because I haven't seen this week's. But why the fuck does this new nigga fly, bruh? This new— I'm like, yo, Black Noir don't be flying. When the what super was this nigga before he—
whenever he was dealing with highly emotional moments. One of the earliest examples of this was whenever he was 9 years old. He hid in a ball pit at the pizzeria, imagining Buster Beaver to be there with him after he paralyzed the child, and from this moment on, his imaginary friend continued to stay present in his life. There isn't much else known about his childhood or past in general, except for the fact that he trained with the master sensei to become the person he is today. His powers include superhuman strength, speed, durability, immunity, and regeneration. Later on in the 1980s, he joined a superhero team known as Payback, which was owned and managed by Vought. At the time, this team was considered to be the greatest, basically being what the Seven are in the modern day. He was forced to conceal his identity when he joined this team due to his race in order to make him more marketable, which he of course was not very pleased with. He made an attempt to break out as an unconcealed star, auditioning for the movie Beverly Hills Cops, but the leader of Payback, Soldier Boy, interfered with this, and he did not get the role. Irving confronted him about this, in which Soldier Boy beat him in retaliation, telling him that only he could be the star of the team, and if anyone tried outshining him, he would kill them. In 1980,
Soldier Boy was actually a terrible one too. God damn. I'm on season 1. Oh my. Yo, Ashley couldn't get past the first episode. She couldn't get past the first episode where the dolphin dies. She was like, oh my god. Yeah, I don't want to watch this. I was like, okay. Where can you watch it? Prime, Amazon Prime. She failed off that. Yeah, if she folded to the dolphin dying, she would not make it through these seasons. She would not, and I expect that.
1984, Stan Edgar approached Noir with an offer to betray Soldier Boy, as Vought was currently working on developing a new leading figure known as Homelander. Tired of Soldier Boy's abuse, Noir agreed, but things didn't go smoothly as Soldier Boy fought back, pinning his face to the hood of a burning car and bashing his head in with his shield, severely damaging and even removing a part of Noir's brain, leaving him brain dead and scarred forever. After this event, Payback disbanded and the Seven came to be, where Noir ended up joining it, being one of the leading figures of this new team. Fast forwarding to the end of season 3 of the show, he is killed by Homelander, and to cover up his death, Vought replaces him entirely, bringing in a new Supe to act as Noir from here on out. Margaret Shaw, formerly known as Queen Maeve, was born.
So you're not gonna explain why that nigga do what he do? Who is this new Supe nigga? Damn, Maeve is gone. She lost her. I forgot about. Yo, this season I ain't seen Maeve, and I totally forgot all about her.
1982 in Modesto, California. Shortly after her birth, her parents accepted Vaught's offer to inject her with Compound V, transforming her into a Supe. After she received her powers, her father exploited her abilities and had her perform in pageants and competitions to earn money, which he would then gamble away. The powers she possesses are superhuman strength, speed, durability, and being able to jump very far. From a young age, Margaret wanted to make a difference in the world, in which she then attended Godolphin University, and here she would receive the name Queen Maeve. She worked her way up to becoming the top student here, and after graduating, she was drafted into Vaught's new superhero team, the Seven, now under the leadership of Homelander. By 2007, she became the second most powerful member of the Seven and the ultimate role model for little girls all over the world. During her career, she performed many heroic feats, where she once saved a school bus, resulting in every bone in her body being broken. She also got into a relationship with a woman named Elena, but later ended the relationship when she became romantically involved with Homelander. This relationship eventually deteriorated as she became increasingly terrified of his murderous nature, finding herself under his oppressive control. Over the years, Maeve's idealism soured, feeling like she was no longer a hero, and living in constant fear of Homelander and just functioning as a product for Vought. As we see at the end of season 3 of the show, she sacrifices herself to save everyone inside of a building, and the whole world ends up believing she is dead, with numerous monuments being constructed in her honor. She was actually able to escape with the help from the boys, but she ended up losing her powers while fighting Soldier Boy. She reunites with Elena, and they go into hiding together, happy that she is now able to start a new life far away from Homelander and Vought. Kevin Moskowitz, better known as the Deep, was born in the mid-1980s and was experimented on at birth by Vought with Compound V. Powers he ended up receiving were superhuman strength, gills so he could breathe underwater, telepathy in which he can communicate with aquatic animals, and being able to swim extremely fast. He first became aware of these powers at 9 years old as he started hearing the thoughts of every aquatic animal he encountered. At first, he believed he was going insane, but his mother lied to him, calling it a gift and that he was just born this way. Over time, his body began to mutate, where he then developed gills on his torso, which he became highly insecure about. At some point, he attended Godolphin University and ranked number 6. Is this
the Gen V shit? I gotta watch it. Since this is about to end, I'm gonna watch Gen V. I gotta watch Gen V. I ain't gonna lie, I totally skipped past Gen V. I need to watch it. I feel like that's gonna be. I ain't gonna lie, chat. Like shit like this. I love shows like this. Like shows like this. Shit like Stranger Things. Like a sci-fi kind of show, but like a realist sci-fi kind of show in a sense. Gen V, it's like when the Supes were kids. It's so instead of being straight into the Seven, it's when they, were teenagers and shit, going to school. Yeah. It's also a Prime video, a Prime thing.
There. Eventually, he became known as the Deep, rising through fame as one of America's greatest superheroes and a founding member of the Seven. By the year 2007, he received a movie in the Vought cinematic universe known as Rising Tide. As he got more popular, his insecurities and shame continued to rise as well. Over the years, he would sexually harass, humiliate, or assault most of the women he encountered as a way to feel less worthless, thinking all of them would do the same to him if they knew about his gills. At some point during the show, he leaves the Seven and joins the Church of the Collective, an organization that is secretly very cult-like and abusive to its members, in which he eventually defects from it, and he becomes a favorite in the eyes of society as he releases his memoir, Deeper, talking about his escape from the cult. He rejoins the Seven and is helping Homelander with his quest of taking control over the planet. Annie January, formerly known as Starlight, was born around 1996.
Why did, they are cooking Starlight. Oh my, why did she get surgery, bro? Because they haven't let up off of her. And she hasn't used her powers at all. She still got her strength, but where's the light part, sis?
to 1997. Being the only child of Donna January, Donna and her husband had desires for their child to be special, in which they accepted Vaught's offer to have Annie injected with Compound V and be turned into a supe. Afterwards, Annie would be groomed by her parents to become a superhero, and she grew up in a hyper-religious home. Whenever Annie would ask about the origins of her powers, her parents would lie, claiming that they were a gift from God, further reinforcing her faith in Christianity. Despite both of her parents agreeing to turn her into a supe, Annie's father would come to regret this decision due to the guilt of having to lie to his daughter, and this guilt led him to eventually leaving the family. Despite losing her husband, Donna would continue to train her daughter so that she could become a famous superhero one day. She would force Annie to participate in dancing contests such as a Little Miss Hero pageant, which would lay the groundwork for her hero career. Her mother influenced her to be ruthless in these shows in order to win, in which Annie would take part in bullying other girls.
Yep.
Annie eventually joined the Capes for Christ, an organization that preaches the fundamentals of Christianity, and they would promote the belief that superheroes were chosen by God to be humanity's protectors,
so
and
cool.
that Jesus was even a
But her shit's useless now, bro. Sakura more. Hey, man, stop. Man, I hope she do something in this last episode. I need to watch it. I low-key want to watch it now, but like I know I can't.
Himself. As a teenager, she also joined Young Americans, a teenage superhero group with the themes of patriotism and promoting traditional American values to their young fans. Here, she met a guy named Alex, better known as Supersonic, whom she dated for quite a while. The power she possesses allows her to draw energy from nearby electricity sources to create and project energy blasts and blinding lights from her hands. And she also has superhuman durability. In season 1 of the show, she of course joined the Seven, and through her, we see it as not what it makes itself out to be, where most people involved with it are horrible in their own ways. She is a sincere and caring person, so she eventually leaves it and becomes a member of the boys, now trying to combat her reputation being ruined, which causes an identity crisis for her, and as a result, being incapable.
Yeah, this surgery she got, yeah, it looks crazy. Now that I see what she looked like before and like this, oh my god. Like, you can see the difference. Yeah, you can see it. She's mewing. Okay, bruh. Yeah, you can see the difference.
Being incapable of using her powers. Benjamin, better known as Soldier Boy, was America's first and greatest superhero before Homelander and the former leader of the superhero team known as Payback. He was born in Pennsylvania in 1919, and the official backstory of him created by Vought was that he was born poor and learned the values of hard work while growing up on the streets. In reality, he was actually born into a wealthy home, but it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, as his father was very verbally abusive and neglectful. His father shipped him off to boarding school at a young age to get rid of him, which left Ben feeling abandoned. He eventually flunked out of boarding school, which resulted in his father viewing him as a disappointment and even unworthy to carry his name. To make his father proud, he enlisted in the US military during World War II, and here he volunteered to be one of the first people to test out Compound V. The experiment was a success, and he became one of the first and strongest supes in the world, gaining the name Soldier Boy, and he was a mascot for both Vought and the US military. Rather than actually fighting in the war, he was primarily used for propaganda films and publicity shoots due to Vought not wanting to risk putting their most valuable asset in harm's way. After everything he accomplished during this time, he returned home, only to find out his father was still not pleased with him and calling him a cheater that took a shortcut by using Compound V. Despite this, he remained a major superhero with Vought for decades, and during the 1960s and 70s, he would take part in numerous Black Ops missions, which resulted in many atrocities. After joining Payback, he was asked by a scientist that worked for Vought to ejaculate into a cup, telling him that they wished to study his genetics. Unbeknownst to Soldier Boy, his sperm was used to create a baby that would eventually grow up to be Homelander. During his time as a celebrity, he became a successful actor and singer regardless of the quality of his performances.
Homelander wasn't he was injected with V, right? Or was he? No, he was a born soup. That's why it worked. Was he injected with V, or he was a born soup? Because if he was a born soup, that explains why Orion was also a born soup. And what makes a difference between him... Okay, he was a born soup. Okay, so what makes a difference between him is Soldier Boy was already an adult before he was injected with Compound V. So he was able to have a kid and it be a V baby. And then because Homelander was a V baby, he was also able to have another V baby. I think that's the only generation that is actual born soups.
villains, which
Holy.
is what started the type of superhero celebrities we see all over the Boys universe. After being betrayed by Black Noir and the other members of Payback due to his abusive nature, he was handed over to the Russians, and Vought covered this situation up, claiming he died a hero by sacrificing himself to stop a nuclear meltdown. What no one knew, including Vought and the United States government, was that the Russians would perform experiments on Soldier Boy rather than killing him, inserting radioactive material into his body, which would cause him to emit high levels of radiation from then on. At the end of season 3 of the show, it was revealed to the public that he returned, now being viewed as a terrorist. Vought and the US government faked his death yet again in this situation, but he still lives on, being taken in by the CIA. Clara Rissinger, notoriously known as Stormfront, has a very mysterious past. Although she appears to be in her late 20s to early 30s, she physically doesn't age. She was born in Berlin, Germany in 1919, and by 1933, she was seen to be in social gatherings of the Nazi Party. She was married to Frederick Vought, the founder of Vought and inventor of Compound V, who gave her the first successful injection of V, resulting in her being the very first supe in the world. Towards the end of World War II, she and her husband moved to America, where he would now work under the US government as a scientist. And they both had the goal to create an army of superhumans and launch a global race war. The powers she possesses are being able to produce and manipulate electricity, resulting in explosions and throwing blasts of lightning, and she also has superhuman strength, durability, and regenerative healing. Eventually, she became acquainted with Soldier Boy, and together...
Yo, they beat the fuck out of her. Hold on. They beat the fuck out of her in that episode, bruh. She got, I ain't gonna lie, Kimiko, Queen, Maeve, and Starlight. Boy, they put a beating on her ass, bruh. That shit, I'll go watch that bitch back right now, bro.
Electricity, resulting in explosions and throwing blasts of lightning.
God.
And she also has superhuman strength, durability, and regenerative healing. Eventually, she became acquainted with Soldier Boy, and together they created an annual event in 1952 called Herogasm, where many superheroes would gather and participate in a large orgy. Around this time, she committed at least one racially motivated murder, and not long after this, she racially profiled a black man walking on the streets, punching his jaw off, in which he proclaimed that she was meant to be a superhero, and she replied saying she was for killing a black man like him. She also joined the Church of the Collective, but ended up leaving after they became racially inclusive. By 1979, she disappeared from the view of the media, likely due to growing opposition to her open racism. It is unknown where she lived from then on, but she later returned around 2020, taking on a new persona and going by the name Stormfront, in which she joined the Seven, briefly being a rival to Homelander, but later becoming his lover. She portrayed herself to the public in a very positive light, and she drew in a loyal following online. She still had her Nazi and racist beliefs, but she hid it from the public, and she would still take extreme pleasures in killing anyone who was not white. Fortunately, in season 3 of the show, she bites her own tongue, which thankfully ends up killing her. John, better known as Homelander, was born in 1981 from the semen of Soldier Boy. His birth was an incredibly violent event due to his powers, where he lasered his way out of the womb
his
with
mother.
heat vision, resulting in
I do remember this.
death for his mother. And he then rose in the air with his umbilical cord still attached to him, also killing 3 doctors and a nurse in the process. The powers he possesses are heat vision, superhuman strength, speed, durability, being able to fly, regenerative healing, super hearing, and slower aging. He was raised in a lab, surrounded by doctors and scientists who named him John, and between the ages 5 and 6, he was a very sweet child with many nice qualities, but the scientists in charge needed him to become the most powerful man in the world, which means they would need to treat him harshly. As he grew up, he was put through painful and traumatic physical experiments and surgeries to test the limits of his abilities. Even though he could have easily escaped at any point thanks to his powers, he stayed here in this lab because of how much he was manipulated, in which Vought would bring in all the best psychologists in the world, resulting in him deeply craving love, affection, and approval from other people. At some point during his childhood, he developed a sociopathic alternate personality that helped him get through the torture he went through. Growing up, Homelander was a huge fan of Soldier Boy, not knowing that he was his father. Years later, Homelander became the leader of the Seven, now the strongest superhero in the world after replacing Soldier Boy, where for a very long time, he would do and say anything Vought told him to, keeping his psychotic and downright evil tendencies a secret from society. In the year 2011, Homelander met Becca Butcher, in which he sexually assaulted her, ultimately leading to the birth of Ryan. As the series goes on, Homelander hides who he truly is less and less to the public, and he also gains more and more control over Vought itself, where he starts to garner a very strong and hateful following. Homelander is easily the most evil and entertaining villain in all the boys, but in my opinion, he's one of the best villains in all of fiction. Victoria Newman was originally born under the name Nadia.
Her power is so crazy. It's just like, it's like nothing insane, but it's so crazy. Like, it's like, if I wanted to, I can blow your fucking head up. That's my power. Your head will explode if I wanted to. Holy shit.
Kayat in 1987, and she was presumably given Compound V as an infant. As she grew into becoming a child, she accidentally killed her parents due to her being unable to control her powers, in which she was swiftly sent to the Red River Institute, which is an orphanage founded by Vought dedicated to housing orphan SUPES. Here, she learned to control her powers, which involved blood manipulation, superhuman strength, durability, and hearing. She would get adopted several times by multiple families, but she ended up killing them each and every time.
Crazy.
Eventually, she was adopted by the Vought International CEO, Stan Edgar, who gave her a completely new identity and erasing all evidence regarding her victims and made a promise to look out for her. Over time,
Crazy.
she started a career as a congresswoman, and by the age of 20, she slept with a man named Samir Shah, who was Stan Edgar's most trusted scientist at Vought, and they had a daughter together named Zoe. She cares deeply for both Zoe and Samir and does whatever she can to ensure they are both protected. Victoria also becomes the founding director of the Federal Bureau of Superhuman Affairs, a governmental agency that monitors, arrests,
Crazy.
and convicts any members of the superhuman community accused of illegal activities. Through this organization, she helps make the world a safer place, being able to root out all the bad apples amongst the SUPES. Although she is an antagonist and does some pretty bad things, she sometimes works alongside the boys and even gets pretty close to Huey at some point. She can be pretty empathetic, but she also does a lot of horrible things to benefit herself as well as those she cares about. Translucent was born in the year 1980.
Oh, I forgot about that nigga. I forgot about that nigga Translucent. They really like, and the crazy thing is that nigga, in order to be translucent, he has to be fucking naked. Holy shit. Holy shit.
To a Jewish family, and as an infant, he would be injected with Compound V. While he was still just a baby, Translucent's power of transforming his skin into a carbon metamaterial would manifest, and his family took a picture of their invisible baby as a memento. He even performed his bar mitzvah while invisible. To activate his invisibility powers, he needs to get completely naked. When he became old enough, Translucent would start his career as a superhero, eventually joining the Seven, and at some point, he got married and had a son named Maverick. Translucent is a very corrupt hero who abuses his powers and authority, and eventually, he is captured and killed by the boys in season 1 of the show, and in season 2, he has a funeral in which Vought covers up his death by saying he was killed by a SUPE terrorist named El Diablo. Homelander states that he loved him like a son while giving a speech at his funeral, and there was also a statue of Translucent commemorating his memory at Godolphin University, in which the statue was completely invisible or just non-existent, where only the base of the statue is visible. Kimiko Miyashiro was born in 1983 in Japan, and when she was a child, she grew up with her parents and brother Kenji, and she had many fond memories here. One night, a group of terrorists from the Shining Light Liberation Army, an organization based in the Philippines, broke into her home and killed her parents. The soldiers kidnapped Kimiko and her brother, forcing them to serve in their army in the war-torn Philippines for many years. While she was held captive here, she and many other young girls were forced to fight against one another, not being allowed to speak while doing so until one is dead. After the first girl she killed, she was allowed to speak again, but her mind wouldn't let her due to the psychological damage killing an innocent girl did on her. This would weigh heavy on her for many years, never being able to speak again.
I did not know that. Did I skip past that part? What the fuck? Did I skip past that part? Or did I just not put 2 and 2 together? Holy. That shit. Hey, shout out Kimiko, because I ain't gonna lie, she got one of the craziest powers, bruh. She do. Super strength. She just can't, she damn near can't die unless it's from that shit that, from this episode, from this season. You know what I'm talking about if you've seen the season, but she damn near can't fucking die.
Having much regret over her actions. Eventually, she managed to escape, but was recaptured and smuggled into the United States, where she was experimented on with Compound V. Her experimentation was a part of an elaborate plot by Homelander to create supervillains and allow them to wreak havoc on the world. The hope for this plan was to force the US government to allow superheroes to join the military and combat these superhuman threats. The powers she possesses are superhuman strength, agility, speed, durability, and regenerative powers. For quite some time, she remained imprisoned in a hideout underneath New York City until her captors were ultimately ready to unleash her. Despite all the trauma she faced, Kimiko still had hope to find her brother and return to their home country together. Eventually, the boys find her and allow her to join them, in which she becomes a very valuable member to them. During season 2 of the show, she finds her brother who is also injected with Compound V, but unfortunately, he is killed by Stormfront. Although Kimiko is able to get her revenge later on, this without a doubt has a long-lasting effect on her and is something that will always pain her forever. Misty Tucker Gray, better known as Firecracker,
what is her
was born around the year
power?
1995, most likely in the southern United States, which can be inferred was born around the year 1995.
95. Boy, she looked about 30 plus. Hey man.
most likely in the southern United States, which can be inferred due to her strong accent. Shortly after she was born, her parents accepted Vaught's offer to inject her with Compound V, and her powers include being able to generate
she that
sparks,
alt-right red
superhuman
pill
strength,
podcaster? She
durability,
is.
hearing, and regenerative healing. In her early years, she would go by the name Sparkler, in which she participated in SUPE pageants. She claims that her family was very poor growing up, and she would also constantly work on her routine for the pageant shows. For 3 years, she competed in the same shows as Starlight, but despite the hard work she put in, she was never able to win against her. At the age of 13, Misty managed to make it into the top 2 alongside Starlight, and just before the final competition, Starlight spread a rumor that she had only made it to the finals by having a sexual encounter with all the judges, claiming
That's
that
so
was
crazy.
the only
Yeah, that
reason
was
why someone
that was fucked up. That was fucked up on your part. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I was thinking like Firecracker's a bitch. I still think she a bitch, but hey, the way she treats Starlight is deserved. You a bitch. You know what I'm saying? So, you know.
like her could get so far. When Misty confronted her about the rumor, Starlight responded that she doesn't speak to fat sluts. As a result of this rumor, Misty lost the pageant and was forced to drop out of the shows altogether. This false rumor continued to follow her, ruining her reputation for quite some time, which resulted in her having a huge grudge against Starlight. At the age of 28, Firecracker worked as a counselor at the Capes for Christ Bible Camp in Florida, and while working she engaged in sexual relations with a 15-year-old boy. This incident was caught on camera, but Vault was able to sweep it under the rug and cover it up. Now, in Season 4, we see that she was a host of a far-right show called The Truth Bomb, in which she would cover all types of wacky conspiracies and spread hateful.
They were saying, what was they saying? They was trying to treat the fuck is the show? The show is crazy, bro. Forgot she, bro. They swept it under the rug so good in the show that like you don't like. The way that she handles it is the way that niggas was trying to handle the Dr. Disrespect shit, bro. It's so crazy. It's so crazy, bro.
Dialogue. Eventually, she joins the Seven, and as of the current episode, she is using her medical procedure to be able to produce breast milk to get on Homelander's good side, breastfeeding him whenever he desires. Jessica Bradley, who goes by the name Sister Sage, was given Compound V shortly after.
Bro, what is her angle, bro? I don't get it. I don't get what Sage's angle is. I can't, usually I can read a character and be like, alright, bro, like, this is what this person, I can't read Sage's angle at all, bro. I can't. I don't understand why she's doing this.
After she was born, after her parents accepted Vaught's offer. The power she got from this was superhuman intelligence, but it is to be assumed that Sage feels some type of way about her parents doing this, and as a result, it seems like she doesn't talk to them. With that being said, she did seem to love and care for her grandmother at one point deeply. At the age of 11, her grandmother was diagnosed with stage 3 leukemia with no cure, and the doctors did not care at all to help her, telling her parents that there was nothing they could do. After this, for 3 nights straight, Jessica researched a cure, and afterwards found one and presented it to the doctors. They disregarded her work and laughed at her, and as a result, her grandmother died a painful death. This experience made her develop a hatred towards humanity. Eventually, she becomes a superhero, and at some point, becomes a member of Teenage Kicks, alongside A-Train, but he claims she was barely on the team and quit after only a year of joining. Now, in Season 4 of the show, she is recognized as being the smartest person on the planet, and she is recruited to join the Seven by Homelander, but in the most recent episode, she is told to leave as she was scheming behind his back. Alongside her superhuman intelligence, her brain is also able to regenerate, no matter how severe the wound, but until it is fully healed, she becomes temporarily brain damaged. She uses this as a way to enjoy life, sometimes lobotomizing herself to enjoy the pleasures that come with not being so intelligent.
That was
Robert
crazy.
Vernon, better known as Tech Knight, was born around the year 1983.
Fuck, this nigga's weird. That's a weird nigga, bro. Have y'all seen the show? Have you seen his? That's a weird nigga, bro. Oh my god, holy.
To a wealthy family known for owning the largest private penitentiary in the United States and has a history of being slave catchers during the 1800s. Shortly after Robert's birth, he was given Compound V. He had a very nice childhood thanks to his family's wealth, and after his parents passed away, he was raised by his butler, Elijah. Later on, Robert attended Godolphin University, graduating and becoming known as Tech Knight, a very famous superhero. As he reached adulthood, he
gotta watch
Vernon
Gen V.
Corp, his family's...
I have to watch Gen V now, because, like, a lot of these, like, new soups got explained, like introduced to me, and I'm like, just where the fuck are these random ass people coming from? But I'm assuming they was introduced in Gen V, so it made more sense for a lot of people that watched it. I need to watch it.
Business, and now he owns and operates all the prisons that his parents did. He also starred in several of his own movies, including Tech Knight Lives, Tech Knight Heat of the Night, The Tech Knight Nightlight, and yeah, you get it. In
Supposed to be
addition
like
to his
Batman.
film career, he also hosted the crime reality show called The Whole Truth with Tech Knight on Vought Plus. His first major appearance is in season 1 of Gen V, and we learn that his power is superhuman deduction, where he gets heightened senses, allowing him to perceive things on a microscopic level. This includes superhuman vision, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. He also has superhuman strength and durability. In season 4 of the show, we see that he has a BDSM sex dungeon, and he ends up being strangled to death by his own butler. Marie Moreau, the protagonist of Gen V, was born in the early 2000s, and shortly after her birth, she was injected with Compound V. She grew up alongside her younger sister Annabeth and experienced a pretty ordinary childhood. In 2015, at the age of 10, her powers manifested during her first period, and she was unable to control these powers, resulting in her accidentally killing both of her parents. After this happened, she was relocated to the Red River Institute. The powers she possesses are basically the same as Victoria's, being able to do blood manipulation. In 2023, Marie would enroll and be accepted to Godolphin University to become a hero, trying to atone for her tragic past and make her sister change the way she perceives her, in which she views Marie in a very negative light. In the first season of Gen V, we see she is able to work her way up the ranks at Godolphin, soon finding herself at the top, making history as the first freshman to be able to do so. Victoria also sympathizes with Marie as she went through something very similar and relating to her having the same powers, so she surprisingly helps Marie at times. By the end of season 1, she and others are made to look like the bad guys after a deadly situation occurred at the university, resulting in her and her friends being trapped in a mysterious facility. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, make sure to leave
I have to watch Gen V. Holy shit. Oh my god. Oh my god, I gotta watch Gen V.
Comment down below which of the soups I discussed in this video are your favorite.
Yeah. I gotta watch Gen V. I ain't gonna lie, chat. This made me want to watch the last episode of Out of the Boys, bruh. Shout out to this creator. I didn't look at your name. Oh, Jay Don't. Shout out to you, bro. This was a very informational, you know what I'm saying? A lot of this I skipped over, you know what I'm saying? Made me want to watch The Boys right now type shit. It's like a great video.